Hello and welcome to ChuggieBets. This is our college football edition. I'm Andy. That's Al. That's Danny. That's Matt. Before we get to any football, let's chug a beer.
Who's ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks? Welcome to Chuggy Bets.
That was a
Good
quick one.
stuff. So, championship week is in the rearview mirror, and we had a good week, gentlemen. Well done. Congratulations. Bringing up the rear was Al at 3-3, but there's no shame in that. Everybody has a week like that once in a while. Matt and I were each one game above 500. I was 3-2. He was 2-1. So doing all right there. And then the man of the week, Danny. Well done, sir. 7-4. Not quite the perfect 11-0 week you were going for, but still pretty damn good.
I made up some ground.
Oh, for sure. And lots of bowls left to make up some more if you want. But I actually think the most impressive thing of this week might be the fact that we all four won our Chuggy bets. That's a Chuggy sweep, boys. I don't know if we've had a Chuggy sweep before.
Chuggy Cyclone?
All right, so good stuff there. Well done, Danny. You have 2 beers to give out. Everybody else has 1.
That's gonna get crazy.
Which may make the NFL podcast a little interesting later tonight, but that's all right. Before we get to our pick for the week, because there is in fact only one college football game this week, we have some just random topics we'd like to discuss. Starting with the fact that primetime Deion Sanders has a new job. Al, why don't you talk to us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, so there's actually a few things I want to talk about. Actually, before I get into Deion, so he's at Jackson State. Everyone there loves him. HBCU. He's on top of the world there. I don't know if you guys saw, but basically, this moment he declared he was going to Colorado, I think it was Southern was playing Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the marching band out on the field at halftime, and the dude from Southern just roasting Jackson State, saying, prime time's leaving, yeah. And I don't know, if you find the clip, or if you haven't seen it, look it up. It's phenomenal. Just anytime.
He had that loaded and ready to go, man.
Oh, yeah. That's like Rush Limbaugh, part-time radio, like just awful. Alex Jones just like laying into the opponent. Like he was just winging it.
I think his line was something along the lines of, "I told y'all he wasn't SWAC," which I guess that's their conference, right?
Yeah.
He was not SWAC.
Yeah. It was such a good line.
But Deion Sanders definitely is a character, though. Like, he goes into the Colorado meeting room, right? And he's telling everybody, go ahead, hit the portal. I'm bringing my luggage with me, and it's Louis, baby. Like, that's pretty clutch. But the thing that, like, sets it over, like, just, like, icing on the cake, like, the, like, coup de grace for me is him making these, like, awful, terrible football players at Colorado repeat after him. And he's like, I need guys that are smart, and tough. And he's like, none of you are that. Get the fuck out, basically. He doesn't. That's essentially what he's saying, right? He's saying hit the portal, but like just making them say it out loud, it just cracks me up.
He also he was
ready.
big. I mean, there was a couple of interesting things about this. One, the coach that was at Colorado wasn't allowed to basically do anything in the portal, use any money to do anything at the thing. And the Deion comes and they're like, yes, drop the NIL money everywhere. We can do whatever we want here. 2, he was already promising these kids like room and board and stuff that like they don't have available for more football players. He's like, no, I'll take care of it.
But that's just the nature of college football, though. You need somebody, you need the guys, boosters with all the money to go, this guy sucks and I hate him so much now that I'm willing to spend when I wasn't before. And that's where they're at. So Deion gets to, open checkbook. So I guess also his son was the quarterback of Jackson State's going with him to Colorado. So that's interesting. He's not going to be able to transfer again without sitting out.
I'm wondering if Travis Hunter and everyone else is going to roll with him too. I know that's kind of been a hotly debated thing, but Travis Hunter, the number one recruit in college football last year to Jackson State.
Yeah.
Really interesting to watch if all those top 5 stars go with him. Colorado may have a good program real quick.
It could happen fast for him, especially if he gets. I mean, he's already gotten their first 5-star. It's not school history, but it's in a long time, right? He had already flipped somebody to go to Colorado. I mean, Colorado's in the Pac-12, right? So if he can turn that,
that's an easy conference to get on top of.
Yeah, if he can turn that school from being one of the worst schools in the country to winning the Pac-12 in a year or two, that's going to be a hell of a coaching gig.
And look, they're not a bad team either. Like historically, they were fighting for championships in the '90s with Eric Bieniemy as quarterback. Yeah. They were 10-2 or 9-3 5 years ago. Yeah, they have some history there. Just let's see what Deion does. I'm excited to watch. I'll watch some Pac-12 Buffs football.
That's the most exciting part. Is we're talking about a West Coast team that we're going to get to care about that we didn't have to care about before.
We talked about a ton of Colorado games this year.
I know. We talked about them. But
we'll actually talk about them less if they're good. We will talk about them less if they're good.
They'll hit that Alabama slot where we talk about them once every 3 weeks.
The truth is what's going to happen here is they're going to be interesting because of Deion, and they'll be on our slate because we usually only go through the FBS, not the FCS games. So they'll be on our slate, so we'll be able to talk about them more.
I love Deion, and I think college football is better with these big personalities that are a lot of fun, and not these coaches who are just giving the right answers in the press conference and just I'm here because I don't want to get fined kind of deal. Deion makes it more fun, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, less Narduzzi, more Deion.
Yes. Exactly. Oh yeah. Only thing I wish he was in like the SEC where there were a lot of people around. Not saying, look, I'm not besmirching.
Like go to
I want him at Auburn. I wanted him at Auburn. I wanted them to get their guy, Paul. I really wanted that to be Deion Sanders because I thought that would just make for hilarious television. You got Leach, you got Kiffin, David. Yeah, everybody would be awesome. It'd be a soap opera every day, and I'd love it. But good for Deion, man. I'm glad he's getting paid.
Yeah, good for him, man. And he's had success, so he deserves it.
Yeah, hopefully that continues. Mm-hmm. Speaking of coaches leaving, Matt, you want to talk a little bit about Scott Satterfield?
Scott Satterfield is the worst, bro. In 2016, he gets appointed from Appalachian State to go to Louisville, right? Normal thing, took a good Appalachian State job. He made it really good. He went to Louisville. After 1 year, he was trying to leave Louisville. And I don't know what happened at Louisville, but the South Carolina job came open before Shane Beamer got it, and he was trying to run for the door, and he thought he had it. So he did a press conference. He did a press release on it, and it did not happen. So it was incredibly embarrassing. Amazing. And Louisville has been very mad at Scott Satterfield for about 3 years following this, trying to fire him at every turn, but he's done really well. Malik Cunningham's good. He's always had good quarterbacks, and they can run up the score on people like they did on Florida State many times during this stretch, just from experience. So Scott Satterfield finds it out. I don't know what the hell the contract is, but he's going to Cincinnati. Do you know how close Louisville is to Cincinnati? Just to be extra petty,
literally, like
it's across the river. Basically, it's like
you could literally hit it with a rock.
Yeah. So Scott Satterfield, before his boys play in a bowl game, he's like, "Yeah, deuces, I'm out. I'm going to Cincinnati." Guess who Louisville plays in a bowl game in the Fenway Wasabi Bowl or whatever? Louisville's playing Cincinnati. I don't know how the situation works. You think he can coach both sides at the same time? You think he has to? I'm curious to watch the game play.
He's not coaching either side, but that'd be funny if he did. I love that he's just I don't know if his family's just gonna move up the river a little bit. I mean, they could just stay there. It's
really might not move.
He just stays in the same house. Either way,
I mean, if you're a college football coach, you're not seeing you're not seeing your family that much anyway. They might as well let his kids stay in the same schools and just see them on weekends.
It should move so that the people from Louisville don't know where they live. That's
Oh, no.
what they need to move.
I think they're happy he's gone. I think they're happy he's gone finally, man. Matt said he's been good there, but he's only won. He hadn't won more than 8 games ever. He was fine over the 4 years.
Cincinnati should balk on it and be like, actually, we're gonna sign Luke Bickle as our next coach. Yeah, he's only 8, or I don't know. I'm assuming he has kids.
So a player from Louisville put this on Twitter, Des Fitzpatrick. I don't know if you remember him, but he said, last thing I'll say, when the South Carolina job rumors were floating around, he made us tweet about how well he was treating us good, how he was treating us good, but wouldn't tell his players that he was leaving in person. He was never honest with us. And I don't doubt that report for 1 second, because he's always seemed like a scumbag. But you're in the business to get paid. Go get paid, Scott Satterfield. I'm happy for you, I guess, you scumbag.
Look, for every
is it a
Deion
coach's
straight
job to
shooter
be
there is,
honest?
there's like 100 dudes that are gonna fucking backstab a bunch of fucking 18-year-olds. It's a fucking brutal sport.
Is it a coach's job to be honest with his players about his next job, though?
Yes.
I don't know if it's his job to be honest.
I don't think it's his responsibility until it's a done deal.
But it goes a long way to making people like you, right? Like there's different aspects of it.
It literally doesn't.
There's no way this guy would have tweeted that if Scott Satterfield had set them down and been like, "Hey guys, listen, this is what's happening," right? Like, yeah, of course it does.
There's no way to leave a job. There's no way to leave a job the right way. You can't just be like, "Hey, I don't want to work with you guys anymore."
You might be right, but there are wrong ways to leave a job.
Yes.
Well, there's wrong ways to stay in a job, when the wrong way is to let everybody know you're going to leave and then don't.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I'm curious about who Louisville will get. I know we've been talking about the Big Ten West, but they're going to go try to get Jeff Brom, right, from Purdue, bring the Jeff Brom back home. I mean, I think that would be the obvious.
Sounds right.
Like he bring the
quarterback. Go though?
I don't know. I mean, there's not as much money in the ACC as there is in the Big Ten West.
Honestly, sounds like a step down.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm curious to watch the Louisville coaching tree. Maybe they'll go back to App State, or maybe they've bit once, twice shy kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah. I'm curious to watch the drama unfold there.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
What else we got? Anything else in the coaching world?
We've talked about 2 coaches that are leaving. Let's talk a little bit about one who is staying. Matt, you want to talk about Harbaugh a little bit?
Yeah, your boy Harbaugh from Michigan, Captain Khaki, he is staying around. A lot of NFL coaches, a lot of NFL teams have been sniffing around him, and for good reason, right? He's the lineage in San Francisco. He went to Michigan. He's been really good there. He also seems like my dad on FaceTime, because every time he's on an interview, somehow – he only has half of his face on the camera. It's impossible. These people are professionals. Fox has professional camera people. And it's like he shucks and jives in order to only get half of his face on the camera. I don't know if you guys watched the interview. Everyone's having fun. Reggie, Matt Leinart, they're all yucking it up. But Urban Meyer is moving slower and slower away. There's definitely some hostility there. And I want the backstory on that real bad. But Harbaugh is staying at Michigan, and I guess that's a good thing. Captain Khaki staying in Michigan.
I hate Harbaugh. He's a douche.
Why? He's like college football's dad.
No, he's not.
He makes you drink your milk.
He's like college football's dad if your dad yelled at you all the time. And
he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's like the jerk yelling guy. He's like the motivating yelling guy.
I disagree. I think he looks like a jerk. Just even his face. And that's not his fault, so that's not fair. But he just looks like he just sucked on a sour lemon all the time.
He's a very intense looking man. Yes. And I don't doubt he's a very intense man. But I just don't think he's a bad guy. He seems like the kind of guy who cares a lot about his players. And he really seems like a guy who cares a lot about his players after they play for him as well. Harbaugh seems like a good, honest guy. He just seems weird also though.
Let me ask you a question, Danny. You have to have a beer with Jim or John. Who are you having a beer with?
Oh, that's an easy answer, John.
Right, exactly. Does everybody agree? It's John, right?
Yeah, Jim
Yeah.
is like Mormon, like fake nice. You know?
Yeah, but like if you're out and you drink too much, you need to call Jim or John to come pick you up. Who do you think's more likely to be able to come?
Jim.
John.
I got
But
Uber,
he's
bro.
gonna scold you. He's gonna scold you
John,
the
I
whole
think.
way on how he's disappointed in you. He's not upset, but he's disappointed in your decisions of drinking that many alcohols. And he's gonna say that exact word.
That's good.
He'll call them alcohols, and that's why he's college football's dad.
Oh, I love him. I don't know why
I don't
people hate him.
understand.
He's
I
such
don't
a
know why Al
weirdo.
doesn't like him.
I don't like him either. I don't like his
Minus
face.
the sleepover story where he slept over at a recruit's house in order to convince him to commit. That was a weird one, but he's kind of just a weird dude. I think he's the one who says the body craves contact. That's why he tackles people like all the time. I'm like, that you don't understand what that means. People like hugs is what that means. Like people like to be touched. They don't want to be tackled.
Yeah.
The human body does crave contact.
It does. Not like that. No one wants to be form tackled in the middle of dinner.
Literally, no one does.
Oh man,
Oh,
he's the best though. Come on,
I like
he's
him.
football's.
I like him.
He's football's dad, not America's dad.
who's America's dad?
Ooh.
I don't know. I think they've all.
No, just who's America's dad?
I mean, the last one was
Bob
definitely
Saget.
Alan Thicke, but they've all recently. They got to
be alive.
Passed on. Maybe
Until
is it
recently.
Al Bundy?
Al Bundy or the guy who plays Al Bundy?
Who plays Al Bundy?
I could see Ed O'Neill being
Ed O'Neill.
I would like for my dad. I believe he's actually that Modern Family character too. Like he's giving you the hard love, but he's always like, "I'm proud of you, son." I could see
What
that.
about
That's a really
Nick
good answer,
Offerman?
Manny.
Like a Nick Offerman?
Nick Offerman is like the new dad, right? He's like Aaron Rodgers' dad, but Aaron Rodgers took none of the good advice and only the shit advice.
I was gonna say Nick Offerman's more like the fun drunk uncle.
That's what I mean, the good stuff. But he also like dabbles in recreational hallucinogenics, and that's the only thing Aaron heard.
And
Not like we should work with your hands and make leather. No, he's like sometimes DMT's cool.
Does anybody here know where Nick Offerman went to school?
Illinois.
I'm guessing Illinois.
Northwestern.
Yeah.
He is
Poker?
All right. Let's keep this train rolling. Championship week recap. We had some big games this past weekend, including a couple of upsets that opened the door for the college football playoff that we'll talk about in a little bit. Anybody have any takeaways from this past weekend?
Oh, my favorite thing was seeing Caleb Williams like making fun of somebody tweeted about like Max Duggan crying after like their game 2 weeks ago, and someone was like, "This is the kind of guy you want on your team," and then Caleb Williams was like giving it the side eye, and then someone like came back to that and was like hit him with their Caleb Williams crying on the sideline losing last week. So it was like a good little comeuppance. But
was there anything that was more guaranteed loss than having Caleb Williams have Buck Utah painted on his fingernails? Like that is the football gods. Like, all right, bro, you're gonna regret this photo that's floating around the internet. Like, bad luck
against a 44-7 run. Oof,
yeah. So USC was winning that game easily through the first half. Like they looked way better, and then all of a sudden, Caleb Williams got a little bit banged up, and suddenly their defense stopped playing after that.
USC as a defense?
No. I think Utah ran for like 400 yards in that second half. It was like they I was listening to the shutdown fullcast, and they all came up with different ways that they look like tackling. One was like they tried to tackle him like they were trying to they were at a birthday party and it was somebody else's toddler and they didn't want to actually grab him.
I don't know why people sleep on Uncle Kyle at Utah. That dude always has a good team.
You were right. You were right. You told me not to do it, and I was wrong. It happens. It happens.
Uncle Kyle's tough.
My other thought I had was Max Duggan gives me some Joe Burrow vibes. Like,
Really?
I don't think they can go out there and stomp top tier teams, but I also think it's going to be hard for those teams to just like blow them out. I think they're going to be in their game regardless. Like,
It's hard
kind
for
of like
anybody
they can win any game kind of thing.
It's hard for anybody in college to give me Joe Burrow vibes after watching him throw to like the best two receivers. It was Justin Jefferson and what was the other one?
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yeah. And then he was handing to was it Edwards Hilaire or something? It was something ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, TCU doesn't have those guys, but
They do.
I do think Duggan.
They have a top wide
They
receiver.
don't have Jamar. They don't have a Jamar Chase and a Justin Jefferson. I mean, I don't know who they have, but they don't have those.
They don't have two NFL number one wide receivers who are clear cut like ace number one.
The best in the league. Like
they don't have the greatest offense of all time. I agree with you. LSU is
yeah, I really went out on a limb there.
Like they're the best. Is there anyone who's gonna have like a Lifetime movie or like a movie that's like Grit, the Max Duggan story, more than Max Duggan in college football? Like it's gonna be like the Kurt Warner movie that came out like a year ago where he's like bagging groceries. That dude is awesome. He's super rugged. He's not incredibly skilled at anything, but he's just a winner. He's like I hate saying it. He's like a Tim Tebow like character this year. Like he's not overly skilled, but he somehow wins a lot of games. And he's bleeding from the nose in the middle of the game. He's concussed. He should have had a touchdown in overtime. The refs screwed him. They should have won that game. I like Max Duggan. I've been preaching it for a while. I like that dude. You're a hater, and in the touchdown or Max Duggan?
On the touchdown, just because and you guys all know this because I was like meltdown texting all of you on Saturday, because I always say don't put your bets into a parlay, put them in a round robin, because if the first couple hit, you don't want to be stressing about the last one. But I didn't follow my own advice this weekend, and I put them in a parlay, and the first couple of legs hit, and it all came down to that game, and I was like trashing Max Duggan because I needed him to lose, and he just wouldn't stop scoring points. And it was brutal. So that was my main takeaway, is that the round robins are the way to go. You might be right that I might have gotten lucky on a call or two there, but I ended up pulling it out in the end. Did you guys see what Herb Street was saying at that drive at the end? He said something along the lines of, "That's a lot of work for 4 inches," and the internet had some fun with that one.
4 inches is huge. That's a huge amount to cover, right? Yeah, but Kansas State's good, dude. Hopefully everyone watched and realized Kansas State, Howard is awesome. That quarterback makes him totally different, and they didn't need to rely on him because they ran the shit out of the ball. That's a good-ass Kansas State team, and I'm excited. Yeah. I want to watch them play more. I know everyone sleeps on the Big 12. There's some good-ass teams, and Kansas State's one of them. Hopefully the world got to see that.
There's one other thing I wanted to touch base on, and when Matt was waxing poetic on Max Duggan, it reminded me of Anthony Richardson declaring he's going pro. He's going to enter the NFL draft this offseason, and I cannot think of a dumber move. Like I've heard people talk about him being a first rounder. That dude, if that guy gets drafted before the 3rd round, I'll be amazed.
Dude, EJ Manuel went in the first round. Christian Ponder went in the first round. I know I'm just thinking of FSU quarterbacks that shouldn't have gone in the first round, but did.
Jameis Winston went in the first round too, I guess, by that logic.
No, he should have. Jameis Winston.
Hey, what round did Stephen Morris go in?
I think he was.
I think he was undrafted.
Undrafted, yeah. Well, he had a cannon though.
I clearly don't know what NFL quarterbacks look like, because Will Levis is like a top 3 pick, and I don't know. Charlotte's good. Carolina's going to take him, and good luck, I guess. Maybe he's good. But every time I think a quarterback's good in the NFL, good for the NFL, they suck. So I mean, they're really good at their job, and I clearly don't know what the hell I'm doing. They say Richardson's going to be like a top 20 pick.
I don't know who they is, but they're wrong.
No, I've been reading the same thing. I don't get it either. But
he doesn't look like it to me.
No, he looks like a hell of an athlete. I'll give him that. And he's got a big arm. He's just not accurate. And it's like
he's a black Tim Tebow. He's black Tim Tebow.
He's got a lot more tools than Tebow did, but I feel like that comparison. Doesn't have the
Tebow won
winning.
2 national championships.
He doesn't have
And
the winning.
also
He's saying
also
that-
was a first rounder.
Touche.
All right. Anybody else have anything from championship week?
UCF just fell apart at the end of that game. Like I don't know, they were losing and then they got within 3 and then just gave up 2 touchdowns and like their defense just couldn't do anything and then they couldn't do anything back. Like it was too like short, like nope, it was like short drives. It was just quick touchdowns, or long drives, but with like no plays. It was like just quick strike touchdowns that they gave up at the end. It was a tough way for them to go out and not win that championship game.
I clearly had too much money on this game because I'm going to make this statement. I don't know what happened with Plumlee. In the middle of the game, they just took him out because he was hurt. Their backup quarterback, Castellanos, I don't know what it is awful. And he was doing so bad. They gave up so much ground that Plumlee came back in the game. It was like some Tua from against Baltimore last year stuff. I'm like, what? I don't know what happened. But he brought him back, and the game got super close. And then it did, right? But
then the
Matt,
defense fell apart.
Matt, did you say Castellanos?
Yeah, he had a deep fly to
I'm just getting word that Kirstie Alley died.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah.
It was a deep fly.
Anytime the name Castellanos comes up, something bad happens. R.I.P. Tom Brenneman.
Georgia's good, huh? That's what I learned. Georgia's real good.
Yeah, Georgia's good. Yeah.
Stetson Bennett's good. That team's real good. I know. I think everyone knew that Georgia was going to run away with that game, but they're really good.
You know what else could have happened this year? Clemson could have been good if they would have played the freshmen all year.
Oh my God!
Yeah, dude, he's so good. He's so much better than DJ.
It sucks, man. Now Clemson's going to be good again for another 3 years.
No.
What do you think Dabo was doing?
Two.
Do you think Dabo was trying to like protect DJ?
What if
I don't
Klubnik
understand
transfers?
it.
What if Klubnik
I think he
transfers
promised.
too? That'd be great.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
That'd make me so
DJU
happy.
to UCLA, a lot of smoke about it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's from Southern California, so it looks like he's going to head back.
Why would you want him? I wouldn't want him at my school, and we don't have a good team.
It's gotta be.
Neither does UCLA though, and we at least have a quarterback. Kind of. Did Tyler Van Dyke enter the portal? He should have.
I know.
UCLA had a quarterback this year, bud.
Should go to SMU.
I don't know. I don't know.
UCLA doesn't have a backup. UCLA doesn't have a depth at quarterback. I should have said sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what Dabo was thinking. I don't know if anyone has like some insight or a guess why he was starting him. But if you think it was just like a promise, then dude, you got to promise to win some games at that point, right? Like Klubnik is good.
Yeah.
DJU was in it.
Maybe it was something he was seeing in practice and he wasn't good at the beginning of the year, but dude, we all saw it.
I mean, he had mixed Klubnik in like throughout the season, like after the first like 4 or 5 games.
He played against us.
Some reps. It was really just waiting too long in their loss to actually pull the trigger and make the switch. But yeah,
He'd come in when they were
DJ Uyunglele is not quarterback.
He had come in when they were losing to Notre Dame, and I think his first throw was like a really bad interception, and maybe that made him hold up on pulling the trigger on making the full-time change.
Got it. Need a little more experience not to make the bad decisions. That would make them.
What's funny is I didn't watch that game, but I had like the pregame on, and I'm pretty sure as they ran out of their tunnel in Death Valley, they ran down the hill or whatever. Dabo is talking to like the sideline reporter, and she asks him like, "What did you say to your quarterback up there? You know, last game, you know?" And Dad was like, I forget what he said, but it was like something like Kurt, and I'm like, he for sure was like, what he probably actually said was, "Have fun sitting on the bench. We're going with the other kid." You know?
Well, DJ went out for the first 2 drives. He just did 3 and outs.
Did
And
he?
Dabo was like, "We're not losing this ACN championship over this guy." he let the freshman go out, and he just lit it up. So.
Oh man, it would have been great if they would have just started Klubnik from the get go.
Yeah, if you're going 3 and out against North Carolina, it's time to sit on the bench.
Yes.
Holy crap, that's a good point. I didn't even think about North Carolina's defense. It's inexcusable. It's fireable.
Yeah, it's what happened. He got fired over it. Michigan, Purdue. That's
Purdue
about
was
how I expected that game to go.
Purdue was froggy early, and Michigan just forced their will. Hey, I didn't realize. I forgot Corum got hurt, but they look like they've got plenty of running backs there at Michigan, where they have a scheme where it doesn't matter what the running back is.
I think they just have like
both.
10 offensive linemen that can beat you up.
And they line all of them up somehow. And you're like, they have 12 men on the field.
It's that's Jim Harbaugh's favorite position is offensive lineman. So he gets as many of them on the field as he can.
They can drink the most milk.
They can.
Oh, the Gronks. I that's my favorite stat was like they asked Gronk's dad like how much milk the kids drank when they were like at their peak, like as teenagers. And I think he said they went through like 20 gallons of milk a week.
Jesus Christ.
I think 4 or 5 Gronkowskis.
It's a good thing one of them went pro to get the dad out of debt for how much he had to feed those kids.
2 went pro, and I think 1 went like semi-pro, like CFL or something. So
and one's like a professional wrestler. They're all fairly successful celebrity, athletes.
Shit, Andy, get your shit together. Come on,
as much as everyone wants to clown on Rob, it seems like he's a pretty smart dude too. Like he's relatively smart. He plays the role of the clown because it makes him the most money. He's like he's
Is it a role? Is it a role?
I don't think he's like Einstein, like going to join Mensa anytime soon. But I do think he is smarter than he acts in public because he plays the role of like the clown, the court jester.
I do think he's the bro king. I absolutely believe that he's the bro king. I think he loves to bro down. I think he loves to go party. I think all of those things are part of his personality. But I think that. Go ahead.
I think he'd consider trading his full career for having been on the Jersey Shore.
Absolutely.
I think he's the 5th smartest person in any fraternity. That's exactly what he is. Like he's upper echelon in the fraternity, right? He's got some clowns.
Yeah. How many like board positions or whatever are there in a fraternity?
There's like, I think we had like 10.
So he's like 11 or lower.
No, he would definitely.
He's not in the decision.
Dude, he would definitely be social chair. Absolutely, he would be social chair.
He's the commissioner of the party.
Playing the parties.
So you guys know what got announced today is the Heisman finalists. The 4 finalists, all quarterbacks. We got C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, Stetson Bennett, and Max Duggan. So I do want to know who you guys think is going to win. But first, are there any egregious errors on that list? Somebody who got left off that should have been on there? Anything that's just absolutely...
I mean, I know Bryce Young was hurt, but I would have thought he'd at least get invited.
Also, who got hurt, but I think Blake Corum probably should have been invited, being the main catalyst of an offense of the team that's now number 2.
Do you think the Big Ten championship game hurt him? Where his backup?
I don't think it helped, right? Like,
number 2 team in the country, and no one's in the Heisman.
Yeah, but no one cares about like any of the players. That's why Michigan is sneaky here, and they have a tough game against TCU. Both playoff games I'm really looking forward to. But I don't think it helped where the backup running back went off.
So who's winning it?
I don't know. Do we have updated odds? Do you guys have the odds pulled?
I don't have them pulled up right now.
Before USC lost, I was going to say it's Caleb Williams, but then they
with
lost,
a bullet, right?
Now it could be Stetson. I like Max Duggan, but only if like they do well in the playoffs, and also the Heisman happens before the playoffs. So I think he's just there for the experience. CJ Stroud. I mean, I haven't watched much Ohio State, so I don't know how gaudy his numbers are, but.
It would be the perfect ending to my Max Duggan movie if he wins the Heisman. So I'm kind of rooting for Max Duggan in his Lifetime movie coming up. Great.
Max Duggan would be a good winner. I feel like Hendon Hooker really should have still been invited.
I feel so bad for Hooker. Like
he had really an amazing year. He was hurt late in the season. He still is up near the leaders, and I mean he's like number 2 in passer efficiency rating, but he's still up in the leaders in passing yards. So,
and you see what happens when he gets hurt. They go to South Carolina and get waxed by 26, right? Like it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Andy, anyone you missed out? You think missed out?
I think it's a pretty fair list. I agree. Some of those guys that got hurt, it's a shame that they don't get, their moment of recognition. Almost wish there were more finalists, kind of, they invited 5 or 6 guys to New York. But I guess if you don't have any chance to win it, then maybe it's not fair to invite them. I don't know.
Al, do you think Bryce Young not getting invited gets the offensive coordinator fired at Alabama? And I mean, this is a serious question because they wasted a Bryce Young year not getting to the playoffs. They have a super talented team, and it's ridiculous.
So, no, I think in short, no. I mean, I don't think whether the quarterback makes the Heisman, makes the invite to the Heisman Trophies ceremony or not has any impact on the OC's position. But I do think there'll be some evaluation that happens there.
Well, I think he's getting fired. I think
honestly, to me, I don't think Alabama's offense was the issue this year. It's their defense.
That's the way it's been for a couple of. They've kind of switched to play more like the college style now, where offense is more important.
I'm sorry, and the offensive coordinator, just for anyone who Bill O'Brien. So that's fun. That's even more.
Yeah,
fun.
Well, maybe the Bill O'Brien rehab tour is over and he can go get a job coaching Notre Dame or some shit.
Liberty.
There you go. That's the next step. Andy, no mention of Chase Brown. You don't think he should have been invited?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to see him go, obviously, but I think Illinois falling off at the end there really hurt him. They lost the last 3, and he just didn't have the touchdown numbers. I think he still ended up leading. He still ended up leading the country in yards. I think. I know he led the Big Ten, but he didn't have nearly the touchdown numbers of some of the other running backs.
Unless you consider Alabama Birmingham a college, then he led the country in yards.
I'll be interested to see who the Heisman favorites are after this. I think Texas has got a pair of them that you may. I don't know if Bijan's coming back. I'm assuming if he can go pro, he will go pro. He's probably the best running back in the country. But I want to see Quinn Ewers. I'm going to put it right here. Quinn Ewers for the Heisman next year for Texas. Putting that out early.
You think Texas is going to have a good enough season to get him there, huh? If he stays healthy, it could be.
We'll see it. I think he'll be a top 5 pick.
Dude, Drake May could have been invited this year.
Yeah.
Drake May did. We talked about Shane Beamer having a glow up. He had the opposite. He had a glow down at the end of the year. Last 2 games for Drake May were not great.
Still had 35 touchdowns and 41.
I mean, he's gonna be all ACC quarterback number 1 with a bullet, right?
Those are NFL pro, like all pro numbers, and
he's great.
He plays 5 less games than NFL teams.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any feelings?
A lot of touchdowns too, but
Does anybody have any feelings on the fact that all 4 invitees are quarterbacks? Like, at some point, do we just rename this as
a quarterback award? It is.
I know, but it's not, right? Like by definition, it's not. But if only quarterbacks can win it, let's rename it and let's have a different award that can go to somebody that's a non-quarterback.
The game is built around quarterbacks now, though. Especially the way that you run and pass. The whole offense goes through you, and it's an offensive game. So the most outstanding player in your team
day it'll swing back to being all about running, and then running backs will win it occasionally. But yeah, it's still who's the best quarterback on the best team in the country.
Well,
I guess they do have other awards, right? Like
the Walter Camp, and there's a bunch of other awards, but it's also like a dumb award because it is the MVP. But there's players that are great that are on other teams that just didn't win 12 games. The guy I talked about, Bijan Robinson, 1,600 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns. It's pretty good. It's pretty good to be considered up in that ranking. But Texas is 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to get there that way.
Yep.
They really,
But okay, gun to your head. Who's winning the Heisman? Who's winning the Heisman here? Andy. Who's winning the Heisman?
I don't know. I wish you hadn't started with me. Max Duggan.
Drink.
Danny.
Chug a beer. Chug a beer, Andy.
Sure.
Not Stetson Bennett, because he started the season really well and then I think he only threw 20 touchdown passes or something. So I just don't think his numbers are going to stack up. I think Caleb Williams probably. 37 touchdowns is a lot, but CJ Stroud threw the same amount. So
yeah, I said it beforehand. I still think it's going to be CJ Stroud. I don't know who would be better. Like, I would say Max Duggan if you want body of work, like grit, got it to the championship. You really want to talk about like MVP, but CJ Stroud's great. He's the best player in that list.
I think it's going to be Stetson. I think he's the best player on the best team, and that is usually enough to do it. Stats be damned. And I think he has
player is not even the best player on his offense. It's kind of a dumb person to give it to.
Okay, who's the best player on this offense? Name another player for Georgia.
He's just the one whose name
nobody knows
know.
anyone who plays for Georgia.
McConkey or whatever, Lad
McConkle, Lad McConkey.
McConkle, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my point. Georgia's the best team in the nation, and no one can name anyone on their team besides Stetson Bennett. So he wins the Heisman.
Ken Dorsey didn't win the Heisman because he was the best player or the quarterback for the best team. It's not how they give it.
So, Matt, did you make your pick yet?
He didn't
Yeah,
win the Heisman.
I said
he didn't.
Stroud.
I'm saying that's not how they give it. They give it to a player with numbers to back it up.
So we have two Strouds, a Bennett, and a Duggan. Nobody thinks Caleb Williams still has a shot.
Danny said Caleb Williams.
I said Caleb
did he?
Williams, yeah.
Oh, so we've got one vote for each.
Are we doing a chuggy bet on this?
I think whoever wins gets to give out an extra chuggy bet next week.
Oh yeah.
How does that sound?
Sounds great.
I love it.
So with that, let's go ahead and move on to the playoffs. They were officially announced yesterday. Number 2, Michigan taking on number 3, TCU, and number 1, Georgia taking on number 4, Ohio State. I guess same question about this as we did about the last one. Is there an egregious absence here? Is anybody really outraged that Alabama didn't make it?
I think the big egregious thing is moving TCU to 3 to avoid the rematch between Ohio and Ohio State and Michigan, and that's some bullshit. TCU doesn't jump a team for losing a game. That's not how rankings work. You don't lose a game and move up.
Nah, I'm cool with it.
TCU was 3, buddy, going into the day. USC was 4, I think. I'm pretty certain going into last week. But I get you.
I'm cool with it.
I am too. Like,
I don't want the rematch. We already saw that game. We don't need to watch it again.
Yeah, like I don't need more blowouts.
I honestly think TCU can beat Michigan though.
Really?
Okay.
I don't see why.
The only way they win. The only thing on that would be they could win the championship if Ohio State beat Georgia, but that's not happening. So
Georgia and Michigan are
championship game.
Georgia and Michigan are clearly the two best teams, and I want to watch them play each other. I would have rather. This was the one year I think I would have rather had the BCS because I want to see that game more than any other game. I think this year.
You will.
You're probably still going to get that, though, right? I mean,
I hope so, but no, because TCU they're so weird. They just keep winning by 3 points, and they probably should have won the other game by 3 points. But
they should at least hit the over, right? The bastards.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
No, I think this is the closest spread for any playoff because there's always that 1-4 matchup that's like a minus 16.5 and everyone takes the plus because it's too many points and they get blown out. I think TCU is a 9.5 point dog and Georgia's a 6.5 point favorite, something like that. Those are close games. Those are interesting enough to watch. It's not Washington playing Alabama and down 37-7 at halftime anymore.
I mean, that's just what the spread is, though. What was the spread for the Washington-Bama game? It probably wasn't 40.
19.5, I think, some 17.5. And because I only know that because I was like, it seems like too many points, and I was done in a half.
So I'm the only one here that's even going to think about taking Ohio State in the points, right?
Oh, no,
everybody else is going to tell me I'm an idiot, right?
I would consider it. I'd like it better at center on the other side of it, but
you're going to bet Ohio State to beat Georgia at 6 points?
No, to cover.
It was 7 this morning when I looked at it. In fairness, and I didn't take it. I was just thinking about it.
No, I would lay 14.
Andy, you know the most about Michigan, right? As a Big Ten fan, what do you think Michigan and TCU looks like? I don't know what to make of this game.
Yeah, I don't either really. I think Michigan is a significantly better team, but like you guys said, TCU makes things weird, man. Like it's who knows?
So
If you make me bet it, I'm gonna take the points with TCU actually, I think. But
Michigan's last 2 games were both against kind of, this is weird to say about the Big Ten, but kind of soft teams, right? They were able to like push them around. Like Purdue is a good finesse passing game.
Yes, Purdue for
It's
sure.
a great
Yes.
It's a great passing game, but it's a finesse passing game. And this specific Ohio State team was not built to play against Michigan. Not this Michigan team.
Well, that's the thing. Michigan is built simply to beat Ohio State, and they do that by
to
just
be like
mashing
bigger
their
and stronger
faces
and like
dirt
be
and run it all over them.
Yeah, and to push them out of the way and make them mad, and just they're basically to do what Utah just did to USC, to beat teams like USC if USC was in this, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They will be able to play with a team like Georgia, but I think Georgia's better at that style than they are, so they'll end up winning that game. I don't know what style TCU is after watching all their games. I feel like they can do the smash mouth thing sometimes, but they can do the finesse thing sometimes. They can also just like run weird Statue of Liberty plays or some shit, or fake Statue of Liberty, or just like they're just kind of like
What's the
Pee-wee
total
team,
on
just
that
doing whatever
game?
they want. No idea.
I can pull it up.
Because if it's in the 50s, I think I'd take the under.
let's see.
I think it's going to come down to Michigan's offense against TCU's defense, because TCU's defense isn't great.
59.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
9.
I think I like the under. Because I could see this one being one where TCU struggles to score early, and their defense does like an admirable job of keeping it close, and then TCU's offense kind of finds a way to like have a shot toward the end, whether or not that like follows through. That's sort of like what I'm envisioning.
We'll get to preview these games in detail.
Yeah,
in a couple of
in
weeks.
a month.
Yep. I was just gonna say the actual game is 4 weeks from today, so
Yeah.
plenty of
some
time
time?
left to talk about that. No, it's a
Well,
little
let's
less
make some
than actually.
picks.
Any of your favorite bowl matchups though? I think my favorite one I'm going to get to watch is Oklahoma, Florida State, because why, Matt? You're shaking your head at me.
No, go for it, buddy. I'm just happy.
I just want to watch. I want to watch Venables lose.
I think there's going to be a lot of points scored, and I think it's going to be a fireworks show. And I'm going to the game, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
I know their defense kind of started to figure it out later in the year, but this over/under set is 65, and I'm going to take the over.
It stinks.
It's going to be a good game. It's up in Orlando, so it's basically a home game for Florida State too. So, oh man, that stadium's going to be packed with FSU fans. I know Oklahoma can travel.
They do travel well.
But boy, Florida State is going to buy all of those loose tickets. Florida State fans are.
Hey, you guys ever been to Myrtle Beach?
I haven't.
Yeah, I have.
There's a pretty good game going on in Conway.
Love it.
There.
My favorite.
Marshall, Yukon. Could be a fun one. But I think my favorite match is going to be Tennessee Clemson.
Ooh. Really? Even with the backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Boys, I'm going to take y'all down to Birmingham. We got 2 small schools that no one realizes are sleeping giants. We got East Carolina going against Coastal Carolina in Birmingham, Alabama. And you can sign me up for it. If Bo Nix plays also, and I don't know, I know Bo Nix is kind of banged up or whatever, Oregon, North Carolina sounds like a lot of fun also. That sounds like a game that I could get behind. On top of, I love the Oklahoma Florida State game just in name value, right? As far as like not the big championship kind of games, there's a lot of championship caliber like history there. It sounds fun.
Matt, what do you feel about the Sugar Bowl? Bama, Kansas State.
I think that's going to be a great game. I'm super intrigued to watch it because Bama's going to be full of like piss and vinegar. Nick Saban has been on every TV, literally like every channel from Fox News to like Cheddar, like that they play at the gas station when you're filling up gas, pitching why Alabama should be in the playoffs. I'm like, bro, the dude is so petty. He's got to realize he lost 2 games and he played Texas A&M like shit. I'm curious to see how excited Alabama is and who all plays in this game. I think there's a chance that a lot of people may be sitting it out, but I think Kansas State is going to fucking play. I think Howard and
it's been like decades since Bama's played in a meaningless bowl game.
I mean,
what to expect?
It makes me sad that the Sugar Bowl is a meaningless bowl game, but I understand your sentiment there. You're right.
Yeah, for Bama it is. For a lot of teams, it's not, but for Bama it is.
Yeah, bowl game where you don't have a chance to then go to the national championship. Yeah.
Andy, what's your favorite?
I mean, my favorite is obvious, the homer pick, Mississippi State, Illinois.
It's a fun game.
The ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa. Pretty sure I'm going to be going to that one.
Hell yeah.
Tampa's not too far of a drive from here. Just need to continue bargaining with my wife to see what my ticket budget is. She immediately said I could go, but then when we started talking about ticket budgets, we were not on the same page.
Well, Andy, you should ask her what her budget would be for a Taylor Swift ticket.
That just proves you don't know my wife. She wouldn't care about Taylor Swift. It would be to see like Hamilton or Wicked or something like that.
I just assume every woman in their 30s is would pay $10,000 to go see Taylor Swift.
No, I don't think I've ever heard my wife listen to a Taylor Swift song, unless she's listening to the Sing soundtrack with my kids. That's the closest my wife gets to Taylor Swift.
Good movie.
Hell
Excellent movie.
Sing 2 is way better.
Well, we could do in January. We can rank cartoon movies for sure. I would love to have that one.
There's lots of sequels I like better, but I like the OG Sing better than Sing 2. Not a U2 guy.
The only one, another game I really
open with the Prince banger, dude. It's so good. Sorry.
Considering Michael Penix is coming back, I think Washington, Texas is also pretty fun. Because Michael Penix decided he's coming back to Washington next year. Quinn Ewers has got to keep playing because he doesn't have enough eligibility. And if Bijan plays, that could be a really high-scoring affair. You can sign me up for.
Another one. A lot of these totals are high. A lot of these totals are sitting right around 70. It's going to be
a 68 burger, and that I can watch a 68 burger.
Should we just bet all the unders? Is that like the weirdest thing in the world? Just bet the board under.
It'll probably be a good betting strategy. I mean, betting unders hits more often than overs, but it's not enough to cover the VIG. That's why it's not a good betting strategy for a season.
All right, so we have one more topic here before we get to our picks. But if you guys are all right with it, let's save that for next week, because we've almost at an hour and we still have picks for our one game for this week. So
let's do it.
The one game this week is the Army-Navy game, being played on a neutral site in Philadelphia, I believe. This is going to be Saturday at 3 p.m. Looks like we have a cyclone to kick us off. Danny, you're the one that always gets the most excited about this particular play. So,
can I interrupt Andy for 1 second? Andy, just drink a beer. I gotta get these in. Yeah. Andy, you.
I'm out. I gotta go run. And grab one real quick.
But while Danny's talking, I just want to see you drink.
Before Danny talks, I just want to give like a 3-second pause so all the listeners at home can guess on, since the matchup this week is Navy Army, what we might be cycloning here. So 3 seconds, and then Danny can go ahead and let everyone know what we're all combining.
If you're unaware, Army and Navy, both armed forces team. Al and Matt both drink those beers because I think I have 2 I'm supposed to give out.
Yeah, perfect.
While I'm doing this, yes. And so this game in particular hits more than the rest of them. And it has hit the last 16 unders. So if 16 years ago you bet $110 to win 100, that's what the VIG would pay. $110 to win 100. And then you rolled that forward for every single game, you would have roughly $3.5 million in your betting account. That's how often this hits. It doesn't lose.
It's a lock.
Yeah, you'd be laying $3.4 million to win $3.3 million or something like that on this game this year if somebody would take that big of a bet on it.
And it would not be sweaty at all.
Nope. So we're going under 33.5.
That is a low number, but
It's always that low.
Mathematically it plays. I can't argue with the math. Under 33.5, which is very low. It's like a bad NFL number, but thank you for your service, by the way, Navy and Army. We appreciate everything you do for us, but don't score any points.
There's also one thing I appreciate a little bit more from Navy, and that's a passing game. So I'm just copying Andy's play here, but Navy, it looks like it's a pick 'em, so I'm picky. I think we have a potential for what amounts to a blowout in a service academy matchup, which would be about a 2-score victory.
Yeah, I mean, chances are I'm going to tail Andy and actually place that bet, but I'm not tailing Andy ever again on the podcast because that was like his only non-winning week when I just blindly tailed Andy on every pick.
Andy, did you have anything you wanted to elaborate on with your Navy pick?
No, I just I think Army has a slightly better record, but if you look at the underlying stats, Navy is a little bit better. So I actually have that Navy should be laying a couple here on a neutral field. So not a ton of value, but at a pick, I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely playing more on the under than the side. So I'll probably do like 1 on Navy and 2 on the under or something like that.
Andy, do you look at these numbers and think that's too few points at all? Like 33.5 is low.
Yeah, it makes me a little bit nervous, but at this point, it's one of those, it's just fun, right? Like you got to ride it just because.
When's it gonna bust?
Yeah, and it's the cyclone, right? I don't want to be the guy that's like.
And we're not doing the game that I was telling them about where if you had rolled it over every time, you'd have $3.5 million. I'm betting 1 unit every time. I'm basically just guaranteeing myself an extra unit.
Yeah.
And I've hit so many of these in a row now. It's probably made,
I don't
20
think
units,
I get
guess.
I don't think I get upset unless it lost 10 times in a row. Then I'd be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't now stop.
Yeah. And that thing where people post that, right? Like it's won 16 times in a row. If you'd rolled it over, you'd have $3.5 million. The Seattle Mariners earlier in the baseball season went on a run of they won like 20 games in a row. You guys remember that? And people were posting like, "Oh, if you'd rolled it over, you'd have so many millions of dollars." And then they lost.
You started at exactly the right time.
And then they lost one, and somebody posted, "If you'd been rolling it over, you'd now have exactly $0." Right?
Yeah.
They all come to an end.
See,
at some
the
point,
key is to roll over half.
Ah.
So
It's also a terrible gambling strategy.
That's the joke.
Unless you start at the perfect time and stop at the perfect time.
Yeah, you just bet winners. That's the key.
You
just
can't time
listen
the
to
market,
Alan,
Andy?
Andy, and Matt.
That's
just
it.
Listen to Alan, Andy, and Matt, and you'll always win.
Guys, that's the key to gambling, just betting winners from Al. That's very sage advice. Don't pick any losers.
Yeah, don't pick the losers. Pick the winners.
All right. Anybody have anything else to add?
I think we had a good year as far as college football. I know we got a whole bowl season to come, but the numbers look good. As a collective podcast, we fucking killed it.
We had an amazing year. Our trophy stand, if you will, or our podium, top 3 for regular season. We had Al came in at 52.6% winners. Matt had 53.7% winners, and I had 59% winners. So,
Andy, that's mansion money. If you were betting real money, that's a mansion. 59% real good.
I know. My betting accounts hit a milestone this season. I won't say what that milestone is on the pod, but it was a milestone that was very made me smile a lot.
Congratulations,
so, thank you. It was a good year. So, we will do bowl picks, but we're going to do them kind of weekly as we get closer. Normally, I would say bet things as early as possible to get the best number, the best line, right? That's why we do these, record them on Monday nights and release them on Tuesdays so you can get lines earlier in the week. Bowl season is the opposite. Like, you don't want to get the early lines because then you find out that somebody entered
People
the
aren't
transfer
playing.
portal or is sitting out or
coach quit.
Exactly. Like I looked at these lines and I see Alabama's only laying 5. UConn's only getting 10.5, and like I want to bet these numbers right now, but you got to be patient. So
Yeah.
I think some of
one
them
you don't have to be patient on is the Army Navy under. I saw that.
Oh
one
no,
come
no,
out,
that
like,
one you bet now.
Oh yeah,
2
that's
weeks
this
ago.
week. Yeah.
I saw that number come out 2 weeks ago, and I was like, click.
Nice. Nice. Love it. All right. Well, everybody tune in for the NFL podcast. We'll have that up tomorrow. Good night, Joey.
Good
night.
night, Joey.